Enrich your musical dreams with an expert and international music educator, John Chitambo. Welcome to JC Music Education Channel. Music education for all ages and races.
Welcome back to our violin progressive lessons. Our last lesson, if I remember very well, was lesson 5. And so in this lesson is very important as well, but more important if you mastered the previous lesson. The previous lesson was very crucial because it introduced our first fingers on the violin. And so now this lesson is really simple and straightforward. Now, previous lesson introduced us to the notes on the D string. If you remember, make sure, boys and girls, make sure you go back to the previous lesson. It's absolutely important. It's very important. And so if you mastered it, then this is gonna be very simple. It's gonna be very, very simple. Absolutely simple. Now, remember, which notes did we cover on the D string? We covered the D string itself. We also covered the E, which is played by finger 1. And we covered F sharp, distance. And then finally we covered the G. And these are the same notes that, some finger pattern that we're going to take onto the A string. And so today's lesson introduces us to the notes on the A string. And these are B, C sharp, and upper D. And these are the 3 notes that we're going to cover in this lesson. So let's get started.
Music education for all ages and races.
So our first note in today's lesson is the note B. And first, let's see where we find B on the staff, because it's very important that we read the notes. It's very important that we know where it's found on the staff, as well as where it's found on the violin and which finger place. So you need to know the finger, you need to know where it's found on the staff, and you need to know which string on the violin. This is very important. And so, let's see where it's found on the staff. Ta-da! That is your third line on the staff. Remember, the third line is your B. So the third line on the staff is the B. Where do we find it? If this finger is on the D string, that's E. If this finger is on the S string, that is your B. And that is so simple. So we use the same finger. On the D, it's E. On the S string, it is your B. So now we are ready to play. 1, 2, 3, 4. Absolutely beautiful. Now, I'm not going to repeat this over and over, but you are free to download these videos. Put them on your iPad or laptop. Then you can practice over and over. But in interest of time, let's move straight to our second note for this lesson. Our second note is the C sharp. And on the staff, That is where we find the C sharp. On the violin, remember your previous lesson, the F sharp. This is your F sharp on the D. If we put this finger 2 with distance, that becomes F sharp, right? In the previous lesson. But today's lesson is on the A string. So we've covered B, and your C sharp is distance. Remember the distance, and that is your C sharp. B, C sharp. So you have open A, B, C sharp. The distance should really not be too much. It's all about listening to your sound. That's the C sharp. If we put these fingers onto the G string, that becomes F sharp. E, F sharp. Now it's B, C sharp. Oh, so easy, Mr. John. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is your C sharp. Sorry, I was about to say F sharp because C sharp and F sharp are using the same finger. They are in different spaces. F sharp is in the first space down on the staff. C sharp is on the third space. Alright, now we are moving to our final note for today, and then we can end the lesson. And the final note is your finger 3, which is gonna be what comes in your alphabet after C. It's D. So we're gonna find another D. We know the low D, the open D is simply low, and the high D, the high D, which we are going to play today, is in the previous lesson we covered on the D, E, F sharp, G. But if we move on to the A string, it's B, C sharp, higher D. So these two fingers are very, very close. B, C sharp, and D. And now that we've covered B, C sharp, and higher D, let's finish up the lesson and call it a day. 1, 2, 3, 4. Thank you very much, boys and girls. I look forward to see you in the next lesson. Now, the next lesson is all going to be on one element, one concept, and this is the introduction to the D major scale. The notes that we've covered the notes on the D string, and the same notes which we just covered will help us to play the D major scale. And after the D major scale, maybe we can introduce one short song to play using the notes that we've covered. Continue practicing. Let's see what we can do together using these online lessons. And feel free to drop me a comment and see how you are enjoying the lessons. I look forward to see you in my next lesson. Bye.
Your musical dreams with an expert and international music educator, John Chitambo. Welcome to JC Music Education Channel. Music education for all ages and races.